Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Fill Your Cup with Srna Stos
and Jackie Shamus.
We have a big topic today that I think, especially I think that both of us are going to give our input, but Jackie has gone through a lot and I think it's super important. And especially as women and in this day and age, it's something that all of us need to hear.
Body image and, your self-image is so important. And it's something that I've definitely struggled with. And I think you have struggled with too. We all have struggled with not feeling perfect.
Yes. And I think that Jackie and I both had, at similar times, issues and that I've seen her go through her ED, and then we both had, and I had ED issues as well. That it's just, I think it's very hard because it's not about just physical, it's where your mental state is.
Yeah, and it's interesting, and we'll start with this before we get to our email, but what you guys don't know is that Srna and I live together. Not only did we live together when we were both in eating disorders, when we both had eating disorders. And I'm going to tell you one thing. When we lived together, our lives revolved around what we were going to eat, and this, we'll put a trigger warning in the beginning, but what we were going to eat, how we were going to exercise, how much we were going to exercise. Our entire life revolved around that for us to stay at home because we didn't want to go out to dinner.
Because
we
of
didn't
the
want to
calories.
drink. We didn't want to do anything because we wanted to stay a certain way.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, now we both don't look anything like that in the best way possible. I love the way we both look right now. I think we're glowing more than we ever have. And we're really living our lives and enjoying life the way that you're supposed to.
Because I think that, and it's hard when, I think it's really hard when both of you we were both in that state. So I remember I got that food scale and
and then I started using it.
We would take turns weighing zucchini, and
it was so awful the way that we lived our lives. And, I'm going to tell you something right now. If you are struggling with an eating disorder, recovery is not easy. And we're going to talk about it on this episode, but it was truly the most rewarding thing that has ever happened to me because I was living such an unhappy life. And the issue was that I was so thin, and every day I woke up and I was like, oh, but I could be thinner. And then I would weigh myself every single day. And that number dictated how my day was going to go. If it was up even 0.2, worst day of my life.
Which could have been if you drank a little more
one
water.
Sip of water. If it was down 0.1, best day of my life.
Yeah.
It was the way that I was living was but it's so interesting because how I feel about myself now. And by the way, I was like a size, 4. I don't weigh myself anymore, so I can't say weight, but I was a size 4 then. I'm a size like 8 to 10 now. I'm obviously bigger, but I am so much more confident now.
And the way you've been glowing
than I was then.
It's so crazy. And you did the side-by-side photo of you, I remember, and of you in the same skirt.
Yes.
And I remember the way she's just like, she looks like vampire, like drained. Like you're just always beautiful. Like you're always the most stunning person, but there's a glow about you when you're happy.
Yes.
And when it's just, you're radiating now this, and you know what? Healing's not a straight line.
No, it's not. I'm still healing.
Yeah. And I think that like you've been and what I'm so proud of Jackie about, and who follows her on TikTok, she has been a game changer for people with body image issues. And she's so upfront and honest about where she's at, because I think that some people, they claim they're body positive and that but they're really not, they're not speaking their truth. On social, and they're not honest about what they are going through. They'll say they're happy with their body. Like Jackie will be like, you know what? It's okay. Like today I had a moment where before I would have never had the sandwich.
Yeah.
And now it's okay. And I think it's important no one's perfect, and you don't try to be.
Right. I really don't. And I think that the reason why I don't say my movement isn't body positivity, it's not that I don't believe in that. It's that that's not where I'm at. I think I believe in body acceptance. And what that means is every single day of my life, I look at myself and I say, I accept you. you do. My body does so much for me. I can
Without
walk,
you
I can
even
breathe,
knowing.
I can sit here, I can talk to you. I can do so much with my body. My mind is working, my brain is working, my gut is, I can do so much with this body, and I am so grateful for it. And I think that my body isn't a vessel for attraction, isn't meant to be something to be looked at. It's meant to be something to live a beautiful life with.
And you have to serve your body in order for it to serve you.
Yeah.
And I think that what we can speak about is we both lost our periods for a while.
Yeah.
And I think that that's the first sign that you have to really look deep within yourself, where your body sends you signals when you're not taking care of it. And you're like, our bodies, especially as women, can create life. Yeah. Like how beautiful is that? Like if you need any more reason to be accepting and loving of your body, there's nothing more beautiful than that. And I think that your body will serve you in a way that you're serving it, and your mental health, not just physically, but your mental state. And I think that we both had lost our periods because of our eating disorders.
Yeah.
But
we didn't care because we were like, we finally look a certain way.
But that's what's crazy. And you don't realize how crazy it is until you start that. I want to ask you when you had that moment about when you were like, I need help. I know we discussed, but I think it's important for people to hear.
So I will never forget. It was August 6th, 2020. And the reason why I know that is because I have a 6-minute video on my phone where I'm literally bawling my eyes out. But I had just gotten back from Puerto Rico. I was home and I was staying at my family's apartment because it was COVID. So I didn't want to stay with my roommate just to give like the 2 weeks, that whatever that was that you did, the quarantine. And I remember I had worked out in the morning and I think I had binged and I like tried to run or did something crazy at night, and I came home and I just started bawling, and I was like, I am so tired of living like this. I'm so tired of criticizing my body. I'm so tired of being mean to myself. I'm tired. And
you were exhausted.
I was exhausted. And I remember I called to my mom, and my mom's like, I know. And she goes, I knew. I've known, but I didn't want to tell you. If I can't be the one to tell you. No. And she was like, you don't have to ask me to get help. Like, of course I'm here for you. And then I called my dad, and I remember I called Rachel, who was my roommate at the time. And I was like, hi, I want to let you know, you probably know this, and thank you for being so patient with me. And she's like, I know, like you, and her and I have had honest conversations where she was like, Jackie, like, I didn't want to tell you this back then, but like, I would see what you're eating. And I was like, how is this all she's eating?
Well, I remember Sarah too, to me, when I was in Serbia, would say, you guys went to would go to Sea Spice or whatever. And she's like, Srna and Jackie had like 2 bites.
Yeah. I was living this crazy life. But the thing is that I was restricting and binging, and it was every single day of my life. Yeah. And it was exhausting. And I got to a point where I was just tired of feeling like that. And I was like, I don't care. And I remember saying, I don't care if I gain weight. I don't want to live like this anymore. Yeah. And I was like, whatever happens, happens. And it's been 3 years since, and I can tell you that journey was the most rewarding thing, because first of all, we wouldn't be doing this because I would probably be at home doing nothing, being miserable. Yeah. And I also just feel like I really gained my confidence back. Mm-hmm. What about you? What was because you had also, and it was when we were living together, really, what was your breaking point where you're just like, I'm done?
So I think really when I had started after Boston, when I had gone to Serbia. And it was like I had gained a lot of weight. And I remember being like, and family's honest, and sometimes they'll make comments. Yeah. You get you put some weight on, and it kind of started like that. And then I went into this mode of like and then I had insulin resistance. Then which was basically pre-diabetes, where it was like I needed to change how I was eating and drinking and whatever. So I went into this mode of, okay, I'm going to dive into I would not eat carbs. I would not eat anything. And then I got to a point where got so out of hand, I was at 8% body fat, and I lost my period. And I remember the doctor said, if you don't start putting weight on, we're going to put you in the hospital in a program and feed you through tubes.
Oh my gosh.
And I remember because my mom was just like, and as a parent, I'm sure like your parents too, it's like they're so concerned about you, but if you don't want to make that step, no one can do anything. And then it became a little bit better. And so then I moved to they felt better because I started getting better. Yeah. And then we moved in together. And I remember then it changed where it wasn't where I wasn't, it changed the way I did things. It was still an eating disorder, but in a different way where I was working out 10 times more.
Yes.
And you remember that? And
right.
I remember we would be at the gym in the morning, like
6 a.m. But it was, you know what it is? I think that what my eating disorder was, which I don't think I've ever really clarified on anything, was it was restrict, binge, purge through exercise. I can't make myself throw up even if I tried.
No.
It was purge through exercise. And it was every single day.
Every single day.
It was so exhausting. And every day I would wake up and I would be like, here we go again. Yeah. Like same thing all over again. Yeah. And, I will say that it took a long time because I think that we as humans like things that make us feel comfortable. And what I've learned through therapy is the reason why I was in that cycle so hard was because it was the one thing I could control.
Yeah, control is the big,
Yes, especially during COVID, it was like the one thing I could control. And then when I let that go, I didn't even realize like how beautiful of a life you can live when you remove yourself from toxic cycles that don't serve you.
A hamster wheel.
It's literally a hamster wheel.
And this is what we have had countless of conversations about. With having an eating disorder, I think you have to look within, and that's what really that's when we both realized okay, now's the time, because we were like, okay, enough is enough. We're unhappy.
Yeah.
And then when you letting go of that control, and it transfers into anything in life, when you have to control, micromanage yourself and what we weren't even able to enjoy life because of that.
Yeah.
And we may have been at the smallest size, but it was the lowest point we'd ever been.
Yeah. I will never forget. There's this one memory that I have. Actually, two memories that I have of myself, where there was one day where there was a ton of girls at my apartment. It was when I was with Rachel, like girls from camp. They all ordered Pub-Belly, and you know how much I love Pub-Belly. Yeah. And I made my own dinner. That was one example that I remember me being like, oh, I'm not going to have this because that one meal is going to ruin everything. And then I will never forget that same trip. That this was when it was like really, really bad. That same trip, they all went out to dinner for New Year's Eve. And I was like, I'm not going to go to dinner. I'll meet you guys after. Because it was that whole cycle of I'm going to not allow myself to enjoy things because I need to look like this.
Exactly. And I think that it's about also, we wanted to even get rid of all the temptation.
Yes. We were like, I don't
want to be tempted.
Me is I would go ham. If it's in front of me, I'm going to go ham.
Or also, I think another thing with us was we didn't want people to be like, why aren't you eating?
Yes.
And then to have to explain, and because we knew it was off. It wasn't right. You want to go out and enjoy life with your friends. And I think that, but what we've realized too, is that now we have a healthy balance where we're not also, listen, you can eat junk food and but I think that you have to, your number one priority, there's days where we eat junk food and whatever, but I think that nourishing your body also in a way, and this might be controversial, I think a lot of us have this idea about body positivity to eat in an unhealthy way too. No. I think that we have to promote, number one is health.
Yeah.
And we nourish our bodies now.
You know what the thing with me is now, and how I, deal with food is I nourish my body now. I don't say no to things. I'm not saying I can't have the carbs. I eat carbs. I eat everything now. But I know, especially me coming someone who has gut issues, I want to feel good. So I'm going to eat things that feel good. But if I'm craving a carrot cake, I'm having the carrot cake.
Yeah, and
I'm not going to say no.
Well, even now, with what we're oh, let's do dessert, and then we'll get something, and then also there's so many. I think the important thing is about there's a big disconnect now, I think, with being healthy in a way where like, I also don't think that I don't want to promote just how I am and what I believe in. I don't want to promote like destroying your body with food either. No. I think that it's not about how much you eat, it's what you put into your body.
Right.
And nourishing it in a way that I don't think we put emphasis on health. I think that even now, Jackie and I, our doctor, she's a holistic doctor. She emphasizes the importance of like nutrition, what you put into your body and how much that affects you and your health.
Right.
And that you have to look at that and you want to be the best version of yourself. And like, we'll look at like our blood work and we didn't even know we had like so many gut issues.
Oh my God. My gut was all over the place because I wasn't feeding it, nutrition. Like my good gut bacteria wasn't there. My bad bacteria was overwhelming. So,
knowledge is power. And I think that we're loving our bodies in a way that we've never before.
Right. And the last thing I want to say before getting into this email is it's so interesting because sometimes I've gotten comments being like, can you film a what I eat in a day? And my thing is, you will never see a what I eat in the day on my page because I don't ever want you to compare what I'm eating to what you're eating because what nourishes me and what I need for my body to feel, good and to feel healthy and to feel satisfied may not be what you need.
Absolutely not. And I think those last point I'm going to make on that is I think that those what I eat in a day with Victoria's Secret models and with all these people are very toxic because they'll say, I'm having a celery juice for breakfast and then I'm not going to eat until 5 p.m. And it's, I don't want to judge anyone. I don't know their nutrition story, but I think you have to do what's right for you, what you said.
Because you're going to start comparing because I think you see that and you think, oh, I want to look like her, so I should start eating exactly like her. But I can tell you that I can't eat broccoli because it makes me gassy.
I love broccoli.
I can't eat that. I can't. Okay, so I'm going to read this email. I thought it was a really good email. And thank you guys. Again, if you want to send us emails for us to answer, it's fillyourcupthepod@gmail.com.
And these are really good.
These are really good and like very in-depth. There's a piece of hair like the one.
Oh my God, the one from my last episode.
Hello, my name is Victoria. I have a question regarding overcoming bad self-esteem about your body and body image. How have you changed your mindset and doing the inner work of finally loving yourself and how you look? It's been a journey for me for years. I always struggled with this and always thought that I wasn't worthy enough of a guy or a guy wouldn't like me or date me because of my size. I spoke about this. That if I just lost more weight, that I would be more desirable. I know it's not the case. I've been eating better and lost weight. I've been doing it more for myself to shed off the unhealthy weight I've gained from stress and eating and what have you. I also struggle with having to buy clothes in bigger sizes because that's what fits me. Can you share your experience? I love the pod. Both of you women are beautiful inside and out. Thank you.
We love you. And
we love you.
I think that this is such an important, thank you for asking that. I think that's super important. So do you want to go for it?
Sure. I think when it comes to, I'll discuss two things. When it comes to buying bigger clothing, I've been there. And I just said this, I went from a size 4 to a comfortable 10, okay? So that meant during my healing journey, buying bigger clothing. And I remember when I first started gaining weight, because I gained when I first started healing, about 15 pounds in 1 month. That's how little I was, eating.
Yeah.
And I remember I was trying so hard to fit into that old clothing and I was squishing into it and I was so uncomfortable and I was sitting there being like, what am I doing? Why am I squeezing into this? This doesn't even look good on me because it's squishing my body.
And there's that thing too, like, how people have like stand-up jeans. It's like, you don't ever want to put yourself in that.
Then don't own those stand-up jeans if they don't feel comfortable.
Exactly. And I think it's really hard based on what you said. It's hard to make that decision we have this emotional attachment to the smaller clothing.
Yeah.
But you made it, one of the things that you've inspired me with is you would say, Srna, I threw out all the stuff
cleanses. Yeah. So I will tell you this. One of my biggest advice that I would give you is do a closet cleanse. If something doesn't fit you, get rid of it, donate it, put it on Poshmark. It doesn't fit your body right now. And let me tell you something. Let's say one day you get back to that size. I can promise you that those skinny jeans will not be in. Because right now, I don't own one pair of skinny jeans. They're all wide leg. They're all flare.
Yeah.
Back in the day, there were skinny jeans. My size 4 jeans were skinny jeans and they wouldn't be in right now. So just get rid of it unless it's something that is of value to you. And I can tell you one thing I did with something that was of value to me was the dress I wore to my sister's wedding. It was beautiful. It was very expensive. And I looked at my mom and I go, my mom loves it. And I go, why don't you get this fixed to fit your body? My mom is a lot smaller than me.
Just
love her to death. We're
but
different body
types.
But you know what? It's nothing wrong with that. I think I just got like my grandma's genes. I don't know, but nothing wrong with that at all. She actually makes me feel beautiful about my body and the way I am. Yeah. But I told her, I was like, I think you would look so beautiful in this. Why don't you keep this?
I love that.
Because you bought it for me anyway. I didn't buy it for myself. You keep this and fit it to your body.
I love that.
How have you dealt with, clothing and getting rid of things? And
I think it's hard because you have this emotional attachment and you want to, it reminds you how much weight you've gained.
Yeah.
And that's the part that's really hard for us as people. But what I will say is there is so much beauty in like also buying new things and new energy that like, I think it's also in terms of energy. Clearing that space that like reminds you. I don't like wearing, even my mom yesterday, she goes, you need to throw out that dress that you had a car accident in. And I'm like, you're so right. She goes, there's like literally buy
me in the set that I
oh
went.
my God, your emergency yellow set. Yeah. But I think that it's so, and I will, some nights, and you've inspired me because you're like, sir, and I'll be like, oh, these don't fit. And you're like, Srna, do a closet cleanse. That's what I've done. And it was so freeing and liberating. And can I tell you something else? I have looked so much hotter in bigger sizes because it
just fits you well.
I think the biggest thing is figure out what looks good on your body.
Yes.
Don't care about the size. There's so many, you have beautiful parts of your body that you can like emphasize in outfits, but you can't do that. I can't do that if my jeans won't fit past my thighs.
1,000%. And you know what? Comfort is so important. And I actually saw a video of Kim. She's like, something about fashion advice. And she's like, make sure you're comfortable in it and feel good in it. Because when you feel good in an outfit, nothing and no one can stop you.
No. And I know like yesterday I put on an outfit for dinner and I did not feel like, I was like, it's beautiful. And I was like obsessed with it when I tried it on. And I was like, this isn't me. And this isn't like, it's not. And then I just ended up wearing like these black flare jeans that fit like a glove and a black shirt. And it's like something so simple like that. When you feel good,
that's all that matters.
And like the compliments I got, it's just, I think that it all stems from within, but you have to make that call to say goodbye to that version of you.
Let go of the energy. I used to be the same. I used to hold on to things because it was like, oh, I want to get back there. But it's like, let go of that energy and accept who you are right now, because you will never love and appreciate yourself if you don't accept where you are right now and accept all versions of you. Because I think the old version of me is beautiful. I think the now version of me is beautiful. I think the Boston version of myself is beautiful, even though she was a little crazy. I accept every version and how I looked.
1,000%.
But back in the day, I used to be like, oh, I wish I looked like her. But it's like, no, don't think like that.
And I think that when you have 1,000%, and I think that input's so important, but I also think that when you make that decision within yourself to heal yourself internally, then, and I love what you were saying about the past version of you, but you know what's funny is when we were in that space of, the eating disorders, you didn't value the past versions of you.
No.
Or now you love
I wanted to be thinner. Yeah. And now it's like, it's so funny because I don't know if you can relate, but every day I look at myself and I'm like, I really love, myself right now. Yeah. And I think like whatever happens, like I'm thankful for where I'm at right now. And I'm thankful for my body. Yeah. Like I am.
And you have to, I think that also another thing that I want to just emphasize too, is that we live in an age of Facetune and just comparing ourselves to, I think that you have to remember that you are not your body and what you bring to the table is so much more.
I was about to say, because the emailer asked about thinking, and I've said this before, there's been times where I felt like I wasn't worthy of people and I'm not going to lie, like, there's people that I'm like, oh, I don't think they would be into someone like me. But then I have to ask myself, who told you that?
Yeah.
Did they go up to you and say, I'm not into curvy girls? Yeah. Like, no, who told you that?
There's people that are into very, very slim girls. There's people that can't, that just are like not. And it's all a matter of preference. And you have to also, I think, remember that what you bring to the table, like, and I was just saying, you can only stare at a beautiful picture for so long. There's so much depth to you, and realizing that you are so much more than that. And then when you realize that, and when you do the self-work, you don't put as much emphasis on outside looks.
Yeah. I think the one thing that I've learned throughout my healing journey is that I have so much more to give than my looks, and looks are going to fade. You grow older, looks fade. But one thing I can tell you for a fact is that I am going to be the best girlfriend. I am going to be the best wife,
Best mom.
an incredible mom. I am going to be so thoughtful. I am going to be a good friend. Like, I have so much more to give than my body and my looks. And I know that. And I know that someone is going to appreciate me and all versions of me, because the truth is that I want kids. That means my body is going to change. I'm going to get pregnant. Someone's going to love me at all shapes and sizes of myself.
I was just with my sister who gave birth, and I'm sure your sister went through this. Like, it's hard when you give birth because you're like, I want my old body back, but it's so refreshing to see my brother-in-law, her husband, how just he like praises her body.
Yeah.
And that's something we're all like, everyone deserves that.
It's so funny because I think my brother-in-law too is the same way with my sister, where she's like about to pop and he's like, you look so hot.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yes, she does, because she's glowing. And it's just like this, one thing I will tell you, emailer, is that you're going to find someone who loves you just the way you are. And just because you haven't found that yet doesn't mean that you won't.
And can I tell you something? If everyone, the right person, the right things take time.
Yeah.
And you have to be so comfortable with being single, knowing that you are waiting for something that you're worthy of.
Yeah.
Because you could be in a relationship right now but it's not with the right person. So why are you wasting your time? You're better off healing yourself and putting that energy into yourself and working on your self-growth and confidence. Then the person of your dreams comes along.
Yeah. I think something you have to do, and something I'm working on, my Reiki specialist told me that, I know, she's the queen. She told me that something that's been coming up for me a lot is like this feeling of unworthiness. Mm-hmm. And she was like, she actually texted me this morning, and she texted, I am enough, because she told me that every single day I have to repeat myself, and I want you to do the same. I am enough exactly as I am. I am not changing for anyone. No. I deserve love and happiness and an incredible life just the way I am.
1,000%. And that just reminded me, and I love that, because that reminded me of something that helped me a practice with every morning. Go up to the mirror, look yourself in the eye, and tell yourself how much you love yourself and thank your body for everything it does for you.
It does so much for you.
And I think that it's important to remember the emotion you feel. Try to think of a very positive emotion and link that to that. And doing it for 21 days consistently will change your view of yourself.
We should actually do like a 21-day challenge.
Yeah, we should. Okay, after this, we're gonna
do it. But body image, one thing I can tell you, and I will tell you this, and I don't think you know this, I woke up today on the wrong side I said it already. Woke up on the wrong side of the bed. Yes. I zenned out quick, but I woke up on the wrong side of the bed. I wasn't feeling so great. Honestly, physically, mentally, a lot of things. But one thing I will tell you is that it's a constant effort and it's constant work, but you have to want to feel good about yourself. That is the most important
Jackie,
thing.
That is the perfect way to put it. You have to want to feel good about yourself and get yourself out of that hamster wheel and loop.
Get out of it, because we did it and we are living proof. We'll post a photo maybe in the episode of our past selves.
But maybe like a before and after.
Before and after. Because
and how a bigger size does not mean less attractive, or it actually means more. If you're doing it in a way that's healthy and good for you, it will change your life
differently.
You grow differently. Thank you guys for tuning into another episode of Fill Your Cup with Srna Stos
and Jackie Shamus. And if you're not following us already, which if you're not, I don't know what you're doing, please follow us on Instagram and TikTok at fillyourcup.pod. And if you have any questions you want us to answer on the pod, like we just did, our email is fillyourcupthepod@gmail.com. That is fillyourcupthepod@gmail.com. We'll see you next week.
Love you.
Cheers. Boom shakalaka.
Oh my God, that was good.
That was good.